Law Talk with Nick Maruchak, thanks to MKI Legal, your trusted employment and family lawyers.
I fought the law and the law won. I fought the law and the law won.
Nick Maruchak, good morning to you.
Good morning, Bowie.
This is new, dancing to your own jingle.
Got to get excited.
you got to get fired up, don't you?
Yeah.
133 882 if you'd like to ring Nick Maruchak. He's very good, and I won't necessarily burden his working day or his working life, but sometimes he goes away and fixes things if he can't do it on air. We'll talk about Priya's Law in just a moment after a very sad situation for involving a stillbirth. We'll get to that in just a sec, Nick. But Danny's phoned in from Bigton. Hi, Danny.
Hi there, how are you today?
Going well, thank you.
Okay, my question is, my son has been living with a young lady for 3 years. She went missing for 3 days recently, and we put up missing persons reports. He decided he couldn't stay at the house anymore, so he took all 3 dogs with him home. He is in possession of one of the dogs, but 2 of the dogs were actually seized by police and given back to her when she returned. Now, I paid for the dogs in the first place. I have also paid copious amounts of vet bills when one of them ate tablets that she left laying around and nearly died. And that was nearly $3,500 worth of vet bills that I paid, and I've had $50 payment back. Now, because they've split up, she has decided to take 2 of them back. Now, if I was to want to go and try and retrieve one of the dogs that we have paid the most money for and the one that I would really rather have, how would I go about that, Nick, please?
Okay, so a few things going on here. One is your son, right, separated from his partner. That I assume, were they married or in a de facto relationship?
No, they've just been living together for 3 years.
Okay, so one aspect of this is they've been living together for 3 years. So once you live with someone for more than 2 years, the family law applies. So you divide all your property, right, of the relationship in a way that the law thinks is equitable and fair. Pets are one of those properties that they divide, right? Pets are treated as property. Interestingly, we've also had some new reforms in June this year where companion animals such as pets are given special treatment, and they can also be divided in a family court dispute as well. But the thing about the companion animals such as pets is you can't get a court order to enforce them in the same way as children, right? So because otherwise the courts will be clogged up. So consider pets like property. How do you divide property, right? So they'll have to divide all their other assets as well in addition to property, like if they have a house together and all that kind of stuff. So that's one aspect that they'll have to start the process, and you start the process by having a chat. And if they can reach an agreement that everyone's happy with, get consent orders. And in the consent orders, you would say that the pets belong to your son, for example. Now, the other question is, who owns the pets, right? So did you say you paid for them or?
Yes, I paid for them.
Okay. And did you gift them to your son? Or so a gift is like an intention to kind of, give a gift, or did you loan?
Well, he asked me for the money. He didn't actually tell me what he was going to do. Probably if I had known that it was to go and get 2 more dogs, I wouldn't have bothered. But no, I gave him the money, and he went up to Northam and picked them up with a friend of his, and then they've just been living with him and her ever since. All
right. So it sounds in that situation, you loan the money, your son owes you a debt. Your son probably owns the dogs because he paid for it, right? So so he would have ownership of the dogs. Because I was thinking if they're your dogs, then maybe you could demand your property back, right? So you're like a third party involved, but that's probably not going to happen. So your son will have to go and negotiate with her to try and divide all their assets, including the dogs, and they have to try and reach an agreement about who gets what. Now, if it's in short relationships like this, the law basically gives back what you brought in, right? So 3-year relationship, most likely, unless there's special circumstances, he keeps what he's got, she keeps what she's got. So if the dogs are his, then most likely a court will order that the dogs be given to him. So worst case is you have to go to court to fight over this, and hopefully they can reach an agreement. So I think, are they on talking terms and stuff like that?
No, they're not.
Okay, and there's...
no, she actually had him arrested.
Oh, okay. A restraining order in place?
No restraint.
Okay.
No, only in bail conditions.
Okay.
She actually had him arrested for stealing the dogs.
Okay, but they're his dogs.
But she'd been missing for 3 days
Okay.
and not been home, and the police actually cited. We put up a Facebook post about her being missing. We had police officers attend the house, and then she turned up 3 days later saying she'd been camping and that he was her ex-partner.
Okay.
Well, bit going on.
Yeah, so look, your son definitely I would get a lawyer to help him in this criminal case. Legal Aid is the first resource that I would contact. They provide criminal lawyers and assistance, so definitely do that. Then once everyone's in the right frame of mind, then you can start the negotiations about dividing everything. If your son needs to, he can go. The most extreme step is go to court, and he would seek orders for the return of the dogs. He'll seek orders for all the other property, and the court will divide everything they own. So there's a clean break. So you can start negotiations by, sending maybe a letter, an email to her, provided it doesn't breach any bail conditions or anything like that. Obviously respect that first, and then get a lawyer. So, yeah, that's the process you have to go through, and it might take some time.
Thanks, Danny. Well, a fair bit happening there. Thank you for your call. Hope good luck to all and sundry. 20 minutes to 11. Hello, Marie.
Hi, how are you today?
Good, thank you.
Yes, I just wanted to ask a question. I have a will. I've made out a will and everything, and I've put some people on it, and since then we've had a huge argument. Now, is it legal if I just cross their names off, get a JP or someone to witness my signature and take the will in? Is that legal?
If you want to change a will, do it properly, right? Because if you do these kind of things, it's going to cause much more difficulty for your executors. So the way you're supposed to change a will is there's two ways, and I'll just recommend the proper way because it's because the way you're suggesting is not ordinarily the way it's done. You can do those changes in a contract, but a will is a special type of document where when you pass away, someone actually inspects the original in the courthouse. This is going to raise a lot of questions. So you can do it in a few ways. One, create a whole new will. They'll automatically revoke that current will. Or you can do something called a codicil. So a codicil is basically a document you sign and you say, the will I made 5 years ago, I'm going to remove beneficiary A and replace him with beneficiary B, right? It's an amendment. That's what it's called. And you have to sign that document and you have to get it witnessed by two people. And so that's what I'd recommend. If it's a simple will, you can go online, and there are good places online. I'm not don't have any affiliation with them, but like Safe Wills is one. Because wills are very simple. If you're doing a will, you're just leaving everything to a few people, or your kids or something. A standard will online probably would do it.
Well, actually, what I want to do is just leave it to my executor and my power of attorney and everything.
Well,
I'm leaving the whole. I'm crossing these people off, and the rest, everything goes to them.
Okay, but
it's going to be
as long as because you can't delegate your powers, your decision-making powers to the executor. So you can't say, I'm giving to the executor and the executor decide who gets it. You can't do that. You have to pick the beneficiary.
No.
Yeah, you're picking.
Yeah, the ones I want to cross off.
Yeah. So I would suggest make a new will just to avoid any. This is not the way a change to a will is done. It's supposed to be done either a new will or a codicil. So, another case is you can go to the post office and get those simple will packs. Just follow the instructions very carefully on them. And just do a new will and then rip up the old one, and then you got the new one, and that will avoid any problems. Because, if the worst case scenario is that a whole bunch of questions are going to be asked, then they have to go get the witnesses and all. It can be a very time-consuming process for your executors when it comes to probate.
Thanks, Marie. Hope that helped. Thanks for your call today. 16 and a half minutes to 11 o'clock. If you'd like to speak to Nick Maruchak, you can. 133 882. Just a reminder, it is Thursday morning and Mick Collis will be in after 11 o'clock. And after midday today, we're going to go back to some of these big news stories of the day. The purchase of St John of God in Mount Lawley, the closure of the PCEC contract. So the place remains open, but the refurbishment won't happen at this time. 16 to 11 now. 13 minutes to 11 o'clock. Nick Maruchak's with us from MKI Legal. We'll talk about Priya's Law in just a moment. Nick, in your view, the compiling a will, putting a will together should be reasonably straightforward. And what was your recommendations to our listeners?
Yeah, so you don't have to go get a lawyer to prepare a simple will. Now, you can if you want, but The online wills are pretty good service, especially if you're going, well, I'm just going to leave everything to my partner, and if my partner passes away, everything to the kids, right? Standard. These are 2 or 3 page documents, very simple. Just the only thing you have to worry about is make sure you sign it correctly, which is have it witnessed, and store it in a safe place where your executor knows where it is. So I'd recommend that. Post office is also a good one, just make sure you follow the instructions carefully, because if you cross a wrong box, then it could cause problems. But if you're doing something more complicated, say if you're separated or you're excluding kids out of the will, or you want to, your estate's quite a bit larger and you want some tax benefits, then you might go see a lawyer, because a lawyer can do more complicated things like testamentary trust, which is like when you pass away, a trust is created and you can set up a trust for each of your kids, and then that gives some tax benefits and a little bit of protection in case of bankruptcy. So yeah, I would go to a lawyer if you're outside, a bit more complex, but straightforward. Try the online will places, because they're just getting cheaper and cheaper. And a lawyer, you might pay $500 for a lawyer, $400 for a will. You can get online for probably, $150 or something. So yeah, it all does the job.
Yeah. All right. Thank you. 1338 882. We'd love to, if you'd like to call Nick Maruchak, you can. The phone lines are open. 1338 882. Baby Priya bill has passed. And this was in Canberra. I think this is the Albanese government said laws giving grieving families financial certainty after a stillbirth or an infant death. It's an awful topic, but I guess the law has changed in this regard. It
is an awful topic, and it happens it happens a bit, And so what happened in this case was the parents had so there are three types of paid parental leave that applies, right? The first is unpaid leave, where if you've been with your employer for 12 months, you can take up to a couple of years of unpaid parental leave. Your employer doesn't have to pay you. Then there's the parental leave payment scheme under Social Security that Centrelink will give you if you're not getting anything from your employer and if you qualify. And the last one is your employer has a paid parental leave scheme, right? Whether a private contract or whether under an enterprise agreement. So this is the one that the government has targeted if your employer has a paid parental leave policy. In this case, after the tragic passing of the baby, which passed away aged 42 days, the employer just said, no, your paid parental leave is cancelled. And that was just a tragic impact for the family. So then this bill basically changed the law to say if there is this paid scheme that your employer has, they cannot refuse to allow you to take paid parental leave or unilaterally cancel it if there's a stillbirth or the child passes away. So these laws are designed to because paid parental leave is just governed by the terms of whatever the employer wants to do, whereas we read the unpaid scheme has very detailed laws. So they try to bring this in line with the existing unpaid leave scheme. So there's a few exceptions. If there's other forms of leave that the person can take, then that's allowed. Or if there's this is a weird one. If in the paid parental leave policy there's an express term that says they can cancel it in the event of a death or stillbirth, but it has to be very expressly written in. But the law says that employers can't actually go and change their policies right now to include that provision in there. So if they try to do that, they can't. So there is a penalty if the employer breaches this. It ranges from individuals can be fined up to 20 grand and small businesses 100 grand and a larger business is 500 grand as well. So if you get this wrong. So yeah, it's designed to give families some sort of dignity, some sort of comfort in the event of this tragic situation. So there's not just a big financial change.
Yep. All right. Thank you. That's Priya's law, recent changes to that. G'day, Andy. How you going?
Morning, Nick. Morning, Bowie. Just a question about the wills again. You're saying, you can get them from the post office. Do they include, enduring power of attorney and enduring guardianships, or is that a more complex issue?
Enduring power of attorney is actually, again, another really simple one. So I'm not sure if they have them in the post office, but I know you can actually go onto the WA government website and download an enduring power of attorney kit. So you download that, and then you just follow the instructions. It's about 35 pages. It gives you detailed notes on how to fill it out. Then you print it out, and then it's got a form you fill out for the enduring power of attorney one. They're really straightforward. You just put the names in and get it signed. It has to be witnessed by, say, a JP, at least one of them. and a second person as well, so 2 witnesses. So I would do that for an enduring power of attorney. And the enduring power of guardianship will applies in case you want someone to make medical decisions when you lose your capacity. So there also probably is an enduring power of guardianship form as well, because they're pretty straightforward as well. So I would go onto the wa.gov.au website, and yes, there is actually enduring power of guardianship form as well. So they've got the enduring power of attorney and the enduring power of guardianship kit.
And are they linked to the will somehow?
No, they're separate. So your will
Okay.
applies and is binding when you die. Your enduring power of guardianship applies to medical decisions, and the enduring power of attorney applies to financial decisions. Those two only apply while you're alive. When you pass away, those two fall away. The last thing you can get is called an advance health directive, and that is where you make decisions about what medical treatment you're going to get in advance, right? So you say, you know, I don't want, if I'm not conscious, then I want the life support turned off, all those kind of things. And that's another document you can get. Those ones are a little bit more customized, so I'm not sure if there's a kit for that. Not many people get them, but if you do have really strong opinions about what medical care you want, you can also get that. Otherwise, just leave it to the doctors, or leave it to your the enduring power of guardian. They'll make the medical decisions for you.
All right, Andy.
Lovely. Thank you very much. Thanks.
Thank you, mate. Thanks for calling in. Hello, Rick. How you going?
Yeah, about 35 years ago, my mother-in-law was living in a state housing. She couldn't afford to buy it because they were selling them, and I put the money in of $110,000, and I bought the house, but I left it in her name. 3 years ago, my sister-in-law has come from Sydney and put that house on her name. As soon as she put it on her name, she's been found guilty of doing the wrong things at the public trustee. Now, she's been to the public trustee, and at the moment now, I'm trying to find out, because I put a caveat on it, so the public trustee wants me to pull out that caveat so they can put it back again onto my mother-in-law's name. So I'm just trying to find out now what I do from here onwards.
So Rick, yeah, you've got some complicated issues. You've paid for the house, right? So you may have a claim to the house through something called a constructive trust. Maybe I can give you a call after this, and I can give you some guidance on what to do. But a very complicated issue, and I'll definitely recommend some legal advice on this, because you may actually have an entitlement to the entire house because you purchased it. But it happened 35 years ago, so you also have to consider time periods and expiry dates for claims. So would you like to leave your details? I'll give you a call and we can chat it through, and I can point you in the right direction. But this has got a lot of moving parts in it.
Rick, I'll put you back to my team, to Sophie, Kieran, Maddie. Thanks, Nick. 133 882 is the phone number. Just a reminder, Mick Collis coming up in just a moment. In the news with Philippa, the hospital restructure is in the news. The redevelopment of the Perth's PCEC has been dumped, and Philippa will have all the latest news and weather for you as well. We'll wrap up with Nick after these. Yeah, thanks for your thoughts today. If you would like to call in, you can, 133 882. It's just 1 minute to 11 o'clock. Hey, Nick, you and I just chatting in the break about, you got a busy job, I got a busy job. Exercise, sunshine, diet, sleep, good food. Who would have thought?
Weights, a little bit of mobility as well, balance.
Who would have thought?
Yep, just the basics.
I never knew.
Easier said than done, you know. It's just... Probably we follow these rules.
Thanks, mate. Thanks for coming in today, and thanks for having a chat to Rick as well from Balladura, and we'll hope you can get that sorted. Look forward to seeing you next week.
Thank you, boy.
Cheers, mate. Nick Maruchak from MKI Legal. Thank you for listening to the show today. Do you think planes coming in and out of Perth should be grounded during the Anzac Day dawn service next year on Anzac Day? The yes are 69, the no's are 28. Thanks for being part of it. 11 o'clock. Here's Philippa.